Boyfriend, m28, came out to me, f27, as gay after 6 years together. About a month ago, my boyfriend told me he was seriously questioning his sexuality and thinks he's probably gay. He confessed he's thought that since he was a teenager, but always ignored it and didn't allow himself to explore it. Being so close to a proposal in our relationship made him think more about what he truly wants in life as he came to this realization. Obviously, our romantic relationship is over. There were absolutely zero signs even now in retrospect. We lived together for 2 years until he moved out 2 weeks ago. We've cut all contact since he left that day. We think it's important we both have space to get over the relationship. Then maybe one day we can be friends again. I really hope that's true because he's such an amazing guy and I really value our friendship. After all, he's been my best friends for the last 6 years. I respect that he told me all of this now instead of 20 years from now, even though it still hurts and confuses me. I don't hold anything against him because he didn't even know himself, so how could he tell me any sooner? He said he still loves me, and I definitely still love him and wish so badly I could be with him. I fully understand we're not meant to be given the circumstances. We always talked about how we were forever. His family became my family over these past 6 years, and all of our friends chose his side in the breakup even though they didn't know the full story. I moved in with him after a long-distance relationship, so most of our friends were his first, so the choice was obvious for them. He hasn't come out to anyone else, and says he probably won't for a while, until he's comfortable with it and explores it more on his own. I get that he wants to make sure first. He made me promise not to tell anyone at all. I want so badly to honor his promise, but that means I can't tell anyone the true reason we broke up. Every time I talk to someone about it, I have to lie. It was nice, but still extremely sad, the final 2 weeks we had together before he moved out, because we were hanging out as friends and talking things over. Now I have no one to talk to. I feel bad for him, because I'm the only one who knows this heavy secret and he's all alone in this. I feel bad for myself because I have to keep lying to everyone and am unable to process things or talk them out with anyone. I keep going over these past 6 years in my head, wondering what was real and what was fake. There were no signs at all. I feel betrayed and confused and like my whole future was just ripped away from me. I tried therapy, but it was way too expensive even with my insurance, unfortunately. I really need someone to talk to about all of this. It's not just his secret, it's mine too. It's the reason we ended things. It's the reason I wake up at night wondering if he was ever even in love with me to begin with, not just loving me as a person, actually in love with me. It's the reason I feel like I can never find trust in another future romantic relationship. How could he be so good at pretending? Will the next guy just be pretending too, even if it's for a different reason? How could I be so naive in believing we were forever? I don't really know what I'm looking for here, but I just needed to talk and get some advice. I haven't been able to talk to anyone about this in over 2 weeks since he moved out. Any thoughts? What would you do? How do I possibly move on from this? Too long did not read. After 6 years, my boyfriend and I broke up because he thinks he's gay. There weren't any signs at all. He doesn't want me to tell anyone, and now that we've cut contact, I have no one to talk about my feelings processing this information. I have to lie to everyone about why we broke up. I feel lied to and betrayed, but more importantly, I lost my best friend. You don't need to lie to anyone about anything. This is not your or his fault, but you have the absolute right to talk to your family and closest friends. You deserve that. This man wasted 6 years of your life and then has the audacity to spin some yarn so all your mutual friends choose him in the breakup? Girlfriend, you got to prioritize yourself. If that means telling a trusted friend or relative, then I think you should. Honestly, I'd be pissed at him. He says he's sort of known he might be gay since he was a teenager, but basically repressed it, and decided to waste 6 years of your life? If he suspected he might not want to be with a woman, he shouldn't have led you on. I'm sure it was a hard journey of self-realization for him too, but I think you have the right to be angry at him. Plus, now he's basically taken all your friends? I'd go no contact. People saying, you can just say insert generic excuse for breakup when people ask instead of outing him, are really missing the point. Op wants to be open about her ex-boyfriend's sexuality because unless that is known, no one is going to be able to understand her situation, sympathize, or give her appropriate advice. I'm not saying he should be outed. It just sucks that Op's boyfriend put her in a position to be unable to seek emotional support from other people in her life, and I think a lot of people are ignoring that. You need to do what's best for you and your mental health, just like he had to do what was best for him. If that means you need to tell one of your friends the real reason you broke up so you have someone in your life to give you actual support, then you need to do that. Don't sacrifice your own well-being to keep his secret. I'm not saying tell the world. I'm saying tell someone you're close to so you can have someone to vent to about what you've gone through. Bottling it in won't do you any good. This is a very shitty situation he's put you in. He took 6 years of your life and your friend group with him, and you're not even allowed to be openly angry and hurt because that would make you the bad guy. And you know what? Fuck those friends who didn't even bother to check up on you or listen to your side of the story. Stop worrying about him and focus on yourself. He wasted 6 years of your life. He doesn't want me to tell anyone. He lied to you for 6 years. You are not obligated to abide by his wishes, and you definitely don't need to lie for this guy. Do what's in your best interests. My boyfriend insinuated that he will break up with me if I get a tattoo. My boyfriend, 27 male, and I, 25 female, have been dating for over a year. Things have been good for the most part. We are pretty different in many ways, personality, the way we grew up, etc. But I've always liked that about us, and I really care for him and love our relationship. He's my first, real, boyfriend, and this is his first serious relationship as well. I haven't been able to see him in person for 2 weeks, so we have been texting a lot. Today I texted him that I was getting my ears pierced, which led him to tell me that I shouldn't get anything else pierced and, no tattoos, because they're trashy. This confused me because I already have tattoos. I have 2 and got them way before I met him. They're very visible as they're both on my arms. And I believe I have voiced that I plan to get more tattoos in the future. A couple of tiny ones I've wanted for years now. But throughout the argument, he kept emphasizing that tattoos are trashy. This led to an argument. I felt very hurt because I already have 2 tattoos that I very much love. I told him this and expressed that he has never said anything about my tattoos prior to this conversation, so I felt very surprised. He responded, "You've already had those tattoos, so there's nothing I could have done. Was hoping you'd turn a corner, enhance decision-making and realize you need to prioritize other things at the moment, not tattoos." Which just left me shocked, to be honest. I never thought of myself as someone who makes bad decisions, and if the worst thing I did was get 2 simple tattoos, sue me. I didn't say this, but I did stand up for myself by trying to convey how I felt. My job does not care about my tattoos, so it just has never been a concern of mine. I genuinely love my tattoos because I see them as a way to express myself. I've never had anyone have any issue with them in the past. I am probably more progressive with how I see tattoos and piercings, but since it's my body, I thought it was my choice to make this permanent decision. Finally, he said things like, "Just know if you get another tat I will have an issue with it for a variety of reasons," and, "I don't plan to be with someone who plans to add tats." Again, I found this to be very hurtful because this is the first I'm hearing of this. I just want to emphasize again that I had my tattoos before meeting him. He knew I had them by our first date because they are visible on my lower arms. They're not huge, but they're there. I told him that no one has ever spoken to me this way before, and by saying these rude things he's not only offending me but my family and friends, of which most have tats. I also tried to end the conversation multiple times because we were not getting anywhere. I don't really know what to do. No one has spoken to me this harshly, including him. There have been many personal stressors in his life. Not comfortable to go into detail since I've already said so much, but even considering those, this feels way harsh. I think why I'm mainly annoyed is because I can't stop asking myself why he started dating me if this was such a big deal. Why now? You're allowed to get tattoos regardless of how he feels. And he's allowed to break up with you if it's a deal breaker for him. Hate to say it, girl, but you have total polar opposite ideas and morals. It's super apparent. Also, fuck anyone who tries to tell you how to talk or dress or what to pierce. They make it sound reasonable and then fast forward and you don't like yourself. I've been there and I'm a stranger, and maybe you won't listen, but on the off chance you may, kick that bitch to the curb. Nobody gets to tell you what to do to your body, but at the same time everyone is entitled to their own preferences. If you want more tats, consider moving on. Doesn't matter how much time you've put into the relationship up until now, he doesn't sound compatible with you. He gets to not like tattoos, and you get to add more if you want to, but it does mean this relationship has likely run its course. Break up. This guy is waving red flags in your face. Time to break up and live and thrive on your own terms. It's your body, period. He gets to have no say. The fact he thinks he does is a major red flag. And also? Who TF calls tattoos trashy anymore? He sounds like my grandpa. Take this as your sign to dump his ass and make an appointment to get your tattoo less than 3. Dump him. Right now. He's not worth the goddamn trouble. Anyone who tries to dictate what you can do with your body has got their head up their ass, and frankly you can kick them right out of your life. You'll find a more supportive partner someday. Just don't settle for assholes like him. If you are willing to be single for it, go get them. How do I, 16F? Tell my sister-in-law, 34F. That I don't want to give my niece, too, my childhood toy? Hello. I have a bit of an issue and I don't know if I am in the wrong for this. I babysit my niece once a week so that my brother, Eric, and sister-in-law, Linda, can go on dates. They usually drop her off at my parents' house where I watch her. I love my niece and I usually have a good time with her. This past Friday, I was babysitting her like usual and she started fussing. I tried to distract her with some of her old toys that we have at home, but she wasn't interested because she always played with them. So I brought her into my room and gave her one of stuffed animals, George, to play with, which did interest her because it was new to her. She calmed down, was playing with George in my room with me, and we had a good time. She seemed really interested in him and liked flinging him around and chewing on him, all normal stuff. She fell asleep with George after we were done playing and was still asleep when Eric and Linda came to get her. By that time, I had taken George out of her hands and put him back in my room. Everything was normal, and my brother and his wife took my niece home. The next day, I got a call from Linda asking me who George was because my niece woke up crying and throwing a tantrum asking for him. I told her that George was a stuffed animal I let her play with. She then asked me if I could bring George over that afternoon so that my niece could play with him and let her keep him since she wouldn't calm down. Her exact words were, "Can you give it to her? She has never loved a toy this much before." I told her that I understand that my niece wouldn't calm down, but I didn't feel comfortable giving George away to anyone because of sentimental reasons. She then told me that I was being childish and that I was too old to be playing with toys anymore, and that I should just give George to my niece since she's so little. I didn't really say anything after that and just told her I would think about it. I know it seems really silly, but I love George. I've had him since I was like 5 years old and he's one of the only toys I have left from my childhood. My brother and I grow up kinda poor, so we didn't have a lot of toys, so I took really good care of George and still love him. I obviously don't play with him anymore like when I was a kid, but he stays in my room. I don't want to give him away, but Linda keeps texting me asking when I'm going to bring him over. She keeps saying my niece won't stop crying and is sad, and I feel guilty. How do I politely tell her no and make her understand why I don't want to give George away? My niece has a lot of toys already and is spoiled by everyone because she's the only grandchild on both sides. Please help! Oh my gosh, don't let anyone bully you into doing that. Say exactly what you have said in your 5th paragraph. All of it, and add something along the lines of wanting to keep the toy for your own, future child too. It's your stuff. I will never understand for the life of me why people think it's your duty to give your shit to other people just because their kid wants it. Keep your stuffed animal. If she wants one so bad she can buy one for her kid. No is a complete sentence. Something Linda needs to teach niece. It's not silly or childish to have a sentimental attachment to a childhood toy. Your sister-in-law is an entitled asshole. She doesn't get to decide if that toy is significant or whether or not her daughter should have it. And you don't have to explain your reasons for wanting to keep George. George means something to you. Your niece will forget all about him soon enough. You should talk to your brother about the conversation you had with your sister-in-law. She's bullying you and it's inappropriate. Let her buy her kid new stuff. It's your childhood toy, and whether you want to pass it on or not is completely up to you. Do not get bullied into giving it away. I would even tell her that it's sentimental and you plan to give it to your child one day because it means so much. That you're sorry, but it has a lot of meaning. Honestly, kids get so over toys quickly. So unfortunately. George will be old after a while and it might end up destroyed, thrown away. She will get over George eventually. I would hide George when you babysit so she forgets all about it. You don't have to give your toy away. They can find a replica on eBay or Amazon. ETA. Saw you commented further down you got it from Toys R Us. All you have to do is Google the name of the toy, Curious George plushie, and perhaps the year it came out. People are always selling old toys because people collect stuff like that. Even if you can't find the exact on, you should be able to find something pretty similar. Hope this helps. Also tell your mom how uncomfortable she made you. I mean to be watching their kid for I'm guessing what for free? And she can't respect you. Tell them where they can get a George of their own. Also a 2-year-old chewing things is not normal at all. Got baby trapped and now I'm scared I, 25M, resent my son. TBH I was still undecided if I ever wanted kids when I was with my ex. But I was leaning more on the side of not wanting them. Was always up front with my ex about it. She said she feels the same, probably doesn't want any either. A year later all she was talking about was baby stuff. We'd be at Target and she stopped to look at the infant aisle saying how cute the outfits look. Then she really started pushing it that we should think about having a baby together. I told her no cause I'm not sure. Well 5 months later it happened. She confessed she stopped taking her because she RLLY wanted a baby. Then when I started pushing her to find out what else she was lying about she admitted to poking a few holes in some of the condoms I had in my room when she'd spend the night. Believe me I fucking flipped on her. That was the end of our relationship and I still hate her for tricking me. The thing is my family pushed me that I still needed to be involved because my son is innocent. As much as I hate my ex I was there for all the ultrasounds, when my son was born, everything. I hate to admit this but I still don't feel anything. The birth was scary AF. The first time I held my son I was freaking out. I didn't feel no warmth or like I became a father. The only thing that came to my head was, this is for life now. He's almost 11 months old and still feel that way. I'm tired and frustrated all the time. He barely sleeps through the night, cries the second you put him down even if you've been holding him for an hour. Sometimes when I'm on my way home I stay parked in my car because I'm not ready to be home yet and deal with the chaos. I hate that I feel this way. I hate how tired I am all the time. I'm scared that I'm never going to love him or feel the way a dad should feel about their baby. Try to play with him, take him to the park just me and him, put a fake smile when I'm playing with him and he's giggling, do our own stuff together to bond but all I think about is I didn't want this. And it makes me feel like shit. I'm a fucking shitty dad and probably a psychopath because what else kind of person doesn't feel love for their kid? I don't want to hurt him or make him grow up feeling like his dad don't love him. Just want to be able to love my son and be the dad he deserves since I know he didn't ask for this and he's just an innocent baby. IDK if this is really the best place to ask but I'm willing to accept any advice if anyone has it. Edit to add. Since I keep seeing people confused about the living situation. I do not live with her. You were forced and tricked and manipulated. You are depressed from being tricked. These are negative emotions that are blocking you, making you feel numb. You should speak to a doctor or a therapist about your emotions. That's a really shitty situation and your feelings are totally understandable. I realize you may feel like a bad dad, but you stepped up to be there for this child even though he was a product of lying and assault. Having your family push you to be involved weighs a lot, and I'm unfortunately not surprised that you're suffering after everything you've been through. I want you to know that you are not required to be involved at this level. You are allowed to step back and take a more handoff role. The baby decision was made for you, but this is in your power, and it wouldn't make you a bad person or a bad parent. So she stops taking birth control without your knowledge, pokes holes in condoms and gets to go on with her life without any consequences? Wow. I'm also here to recommend that you see a lawyer. This was reproductive coercion and you may be able to sign away your parental rights. You don't deserve to have your life ruled by this woman and her choices. Bro, she raped you. Most people would have those feelings as well. Hey there. Your feeling towards your son are entirely understandable. He serves as a constant reminder of a traumatic rape experience. Having sex under false pretenses, like your girlfriend pretending she was on birth control, is rape. I'd suggest getting therapy to work through the trauma you experienced so that you can try and have a productive relationship with your son. If you still can't handle it, I wouldn't fault you for stepping away from your son's life. It may be easier for him to grow up without a father than with one who resents him. Please tell me you got a paternity test done. You have every right to feel angry and resent even the kid. A therapist will be able to assist in your emotions and provide coping mechanisms. By the way, if you do wish to walk away from the baby, that is absolutely fine and is an option as your responsibility is only child support. That girlfriend should be in jail.